Today I'm going to talk to you about setting up your website manually, starting to do a website. And the reason for this is last Friday on January 26th, 2018, we did an 8-hour live stream, and we showed our members how to set up their websites using WordPress. We registered the domain name. We did the hosting setup. We went a little bit over cPanel. We could have gone more over cPanel, but I'm going to do a whole cPanel section some other time, as opposed to dwelling on it right now. But some of you asked, how do I go about making my website? Because I agree, WordPress does have its limitations. It's a nice tool, but there are limitations to it. If you don't know how to do PHP, you are limited. So. And what we referred to in that video as the code, doing code. Josh did a really good job at showing us some of the stuff that he knows, but I got to admit, he went through it pretty quick. Some people had to pause and really look at what he was doing. So I'm just going to take a few minutes here. We're going to start right back at the beginning. This is going to be the first video of a series on how to DIY your website, do-it-yourself website. And I'm going to do this over a period of time. Today we're going to talk about how to get set up. So first you need a text editor. You're going to need a plain text editor. In Windows, you can use Notepad if it still exists. Find yourself a text editor. NoteTab Pro is another one. This one I use is Gedit. I believe it's Gedit. Yeah, I think so. Hold on a second. Let me go find out. Let me go find out what it is. This says text. Here I got text editor. This is Linux. This is Ubuntu. And what do I have for? I'm not sure what I have in here. Anyways, find yourself a text editor program, any text editor, anything that you can write text in, and simply save a file and go. So, with that said, first thing I'm gonna take my time to teach you here today is Filezilla. This is a program like a browser which allows you to look at and manage the files on an FTP server. FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. Now, all you need to do right now is take the letters HTTP and replace that in your head with FTP. It's simply a browser. It's drag and drop. It's not hard to learn. And I'm going to show you how to set it up. I'm going to show you how to where to download it from, and how to set it up and how to get going on this. Okay, so Filezilla is located at filezillaproject.org. That's their root. Go into this location here. There's the website. Download it. I'm using a Linux server, so you want to download the client, not the server version. The server version is the version of the software you're going to put on a computer if you have to. Let's say on another PC that the client version, the version you're going to use, connects to. In this case, you're going to use the client version, and you're going to be connecting to a server that already has the server version on it. So in other words, this is the client version needs to talk to the server version and needs to connect to it. So you don't have it on your computer. Download the client version. And again, I'm using Linux, but it's for Windows, for Mac. It's for a whole bunch of platforms. Like I said, I'm using Linux, but I've already got it installed. So download, install that. And then I'm going to go into a website, and I'm just going to skim over how to get it set up. So I already have Filezilla here installed on my computer. I'm just going to reduce it so you get a better view of the screen. At the top here, you got some control buttons, obviously. At the top here, you've got what's going on the server, passwords, IP address, everything the server is doing as it's connecting. Down here on this panel here, you have everything that's on your computer, and over here you have everything that's on your server side. So here's the button here, top corner, top right, where it's lit up just now, and I'm going to go connect to nelsonbuck.com. Boom, done. Everything on my PC and everything on the server. And with that, I'm going to double click on content. You see how both sides change? This is called synchronous folder exploring, or synchronous exploration. And I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second. So what you want to do is you want to go to this little tab here, and you can go into, I have client sites, all my websites. But if you click on the big button, you can go into the configuration of each site. So here, nelsonbuck.com. The host name is nelsonbuck.com. You don't need to put a port number in. I use simple FTP protocol. I could use SFTP, which stands for Secure File Transfer Protocol. But I find that if I'm not doing anything super secure, I use the regular FTP with plain text FTP. One, it's faster, and two, when you go into advanced over here and you want to use synchronous browsing, if you use secure, sometimes this won't work depending on your operating system. You can also use directory comparison. This will show you files that are on one side but not on the other, or folders that are different from the other on one side to the other. So there is folder comparison. But back here, so what I usually use is plain file transfer protocol with FTP unsecure. If I'm doing something like credit card processing software and I'm uploading really secure content, then or database transfers, then I'll use SFTP. Otherwise, I just leave it alone. Login type, you want to go into normal. You have anonymous. You'll sometimes see that on websites that let you log in anonymously. Normal. Ask for password. If you want to get real secure, you can say ask for password every time, which means the software will not remember the password. Interactive. I've never used it. Or account. With account, you have to put an account number and all that kind of stuff. I use it plain normal. Username of the site, the password. Background color. You can actually choose a background color now. This is kind of neat, but I just leave it none. I'll say OK and connect. But before we do that, go over to advanced. Clickety click. Transfer settings and rest over here. These are tabs we won't touch. What you want to do here is click on browse and go find the location of the folder where your files are going to be stored. In this case, it's my Dropbox. So I put everything in my Dropbox. Webs, soft layer, Nelson Buck. And that's where I want everything. And on the root, on the destination directory, depending on your settings, I just go into the root / of that account. I just want to land right into /, and then I'll work from there. I don't use directory comparison, but I do use synchronized browsing. Again, that has to do with when I click on one menu, both sides update. When I click on and again, both sides update. Back up. You see what I mean? If I go into into different folders, each side has its own stuff. But it's easier to run that way. I don't have to. Oh yeah, I used to have to go. Content, access, and on this side I'd have to do the same thing. Okay, I went into content, I went to access, and then I would have both menus on each side. So I really find this a lot better. Now, when I modify a file and I want to upload the file, I click on the file and I can right click and say upload or add files to queue. Sometimes I'm doing something and I don't want to be bothered with uploading just yet, or maybe I'm uploading other stuff or downloading. I'll just say upload to queue. And that means the file gets added to the queue down here. So I want to put that one in, add that one in. I want to add this one in. Because I know I did change. I worked 4 or 5 hours. I did a bunch of changes. I'm just going to add them in. And or maybe the server's doing updates or whatever, So then when I'm ready, I come down here. I right click on this line down here. And I say process queue. It's going to ask you, how do you want to transfer the files? Because now it's noticing that on the left hand and the right hand side are similar files. I just say overwrite. You can choose overwrite if source is newer, different sizes, and source or source is newer. Resume the upload, rename. This resume one's pretty good because if you have two file names the same and you have 1 meg here and 10 megs here, well, go to resume because it'll try to resume the upload. And then down here, it's always use this action. I do this to just to save myself some time because otherwise this window comes up all the time. Click, done, it's transferred. That means these files and those files that I uploaded are all done. You can go in here and see failed transfers, successful transfer. You can see the files that you transfer. I've been uploading a lot of stuff in here. But there you go. So that's FTP. Now I'm gonna slide this over here for a second and look at that. I just got a notification. Wow, thank you, phone. Actually, now I have to look and see what it is. Oh, Can you guys see that? Can you guys see that? Clash of Clans. Wow, I got a notification. Yeah, I played Clash of Clans. Okay. So now let's say I want to make a file. Now, like I said, this is just a preliminary intro to creating a file on the website. And before I do anything, before I mess anything up here, no, okay, yeah. Normally the file name that you're going to save it as is normally index.php for your root. But let's say in this case, I'm going to put it as demonstration. I'm going to put demo.php. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to right click. No, it's not that because this software changed. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to say save. It's going to ask me where do I want to save it. Find the location of where you're saving it. Again, don't look at my file system. This all depends on what operating system you're using. I'm using Ubuntu. If you're using Windows, well, this is a similar thing. Find the location. And I'm going to call it demo.php. There we go. Now we have a file name here called demo.php. Now, something to do in your scripts before you do anything. Remember to comment on everything you do, all your lines that you put in. Make sure you comment not just what the section does, but maybe put in comments as to what you'd want to do in the future, because you'll come back and go, oh yeah, I wanted to update that, or oh yeah, I wanted to do that function. First off, I put in what the software is. So this I'm going to put here. I'm going to put Nelson Buck's demo script. Version 1.0, last updated, we'll say January. I hope that's spelled right. Don't judge me. 30th, 2018. Now, I put the date on so I know what the last time I modified. Every time you modify it, update that date so you know the last time you touched it. I usually put support in case I'm distributing this with somebody else, but that we don't need. I don't need my contact. This line here is interesting. If you're running a script that's going to do a lot of processing, it's going to last longer than, not last, but it's going to take up more than a certain amount of megs, more than what I think it's a 100K or 200, a quarter of a meg. You can come in here, uncomment this. Now, that's interesting too. The double slashes are comments. Anything that has a double slash before it, even if I put a double slash here, well, I can't type. Anything that has a double slash is a comment. Now, I'm using a program that color codes everything. Again, if you're using a word processor, is one thing. If you're using a program that is made for color coding or identifying code, great. But I use this program, this color codes everything, so we're going to go with this. What is the name of this software? I'm just curious now. Can we get to the about on this one? I'm just curious. Tools. Oh, sorry. Okay, but there isn't any, so we'll continue on. Okay, so this function will allow you to go to 8 megs of memory. You could go to 16 megs of memory. Be careful with this. Some ISPs don't like using this. I leave it in there in case, but again, could take it out. When you start a PHP file, PHP is like HTML. So if, let's say, for example, I'm starting the body of my website, I'm going to go HTML, and then I'm going to say head, and I'm going to put /head, and then I'm going to say body, and then way down here I'm going to say /body and /HTML. Now, it's not case sensitive. You can put uppercase or lowercase. This is just my style. I indent everything so that you have the HTML opening, and then where you see /HTML means that it's closing. What you've said to the browser is this is the HTML content. It starts here and ends here is what you've done, okay? The head is the header where you can put all your meta tags, titles. So I could go in here and say title and /title and Nelson's demo script. Okay. Everything else that goes in the header, when they say it goes in the header, it goes between head and /head. Then the body, which is the visual body of your page. Sorry, I got a bit of a cold today. And then we can start PHP. When you want to start PHP script, everything starts with lesser than, question mark, and then PHP. Just the way you see it right there. It looks kind of weird because you got this this want to do this. That's wrong. Putting the greater than like you would an HTML code. But in reality, the PHP code would look like that. Okay? Lesser than, question mark, PHP, question mark, lesser. If you want it to look like an HTML tag, that's what you'd have to do. But that's the proper way to put it in. And this little tag down here, question mark, greater than, is the closing tag. Okay? So, what do we want our website to say? Let's say, for example, I want to make, if I'm going to say center something, you want to start center and slash. Now, what I usually do is I start the opening tag and I do the closing tag right away. Okay, that way it's done. Otherwise, you'll do an opening tag, bunch of code, and then you'll forget to do the closing tags down below, and then you're like, oh, now I got errors in my script. Open a center tag, close it right away, then go up and add in an H1 tag, for example, for headline 1, and put in Nelson's demo script. And then down here you can do a P. P stands for new paragraph. Now notice that you can put it at the end of an existing tag, or it can be on its own line. Okay, so that tells the system you want a new line. So what we might say is, actually we're going to continue in the center. So I want to continue inside center and say H2 for headline 2. The best demo script ever. There you go. And then we can go, for example, H3. Now, this has nothing to do with the line number. This really has to do with the headline. Learn how to code in HTML and PHP as good as the guys that charge you a fortune. There. What have I done? I told the website that I want to center a whole bunch of text, and then I then said create a headline text, which is the biggest text, and put those words, and then a paragraph break, new paragraph. Again, we're always centered. The next block of text, but the text a little smaller, and then even smaller text for the subheader, if you want to say. Then I close the center, and now I'm going to start fresh. It's pretty much that simple. I mean, you're going to find that you're going to use a lot of copy and paste, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you use copy and paste, be warned that if you copy and paste 100 times and there's a mistake in your copy part, your original copy amount, that error will be copied all the way through your script. So be careful using copy and paste. It's be careful with that. Now I'm going to show you some coding. What I want you to do is we're going to show the date. Today we're going to put up, this is going to be a very simple script. We're going to show how to put the date on the screen. And then on the next episodes, I'm going to show you how to do more and more stuff as time goes on. So this is episode 1. Keep that in mind. I hope this helps somebody. Okay, so got comments. Now, what you could also do here with the comments for the script is also go like this. There's nothing wrong with this. You can start PHP, put a comment, and then close PHP, and then start your HTML. This is fine. You can do this. And then start PHP again and continue. You can have PHP open 1,000 times through the document. It's all inline. The browser reads the code. Oh, we're starting PHP. Okay, there's nothing in there. There's a comment. Close it. HTML, header, close the header, open the body, center, H1, H2, H3, close center, new paragraph. Oh, now we're opening PHP again. It's all inline. It's from top to bottom. Okay? So let's make the date. Let's say today's date is. Today's date is now this gets fun. This is where you're going to learn how I'm not a genius. I don't know everything there is to know. But what I do is this. Shh, don't tell anybody. Okay, this is top secret. Go back to your browser. Go to Google. Okay, type in PHP space date. Enter. Shh. You see these lines here? It's usually from PHP. Here, PHP date manual. I look for these lines here. This is a website that lists everything, but there's a function here from W3 Schools down here. Let's go to this one. Ta-da! I love this site. I really do love this site. PHP.net. And what they did here is they got it's good for PHP 4, 5, and 7. There's no 6 for some reason. We're in 5 point something, I think. I'm going to be going to 7 pretty soon. I gotta upgrade everything. Date format for local time and date, and then it shows you the phonetic writing, what it looks like in the source code inside PHP. Returns a string formatted according to the given format string using the given integer timestamp. In the current time, if no timestamp is given, in other words, timestamp is optional or and default to the value of time. Now, date and time are two totally different things here. Date has an entire section where you can format this stuff, and I'm going to show you down here just a second. Let's scroll down, scrolling down right here. There we go. Now, this is interesting because you can set your time zone for your website to UTC. So what I do is I select it, I copy it, I go back to my program, and I say paste. There you go. Now we set the default time zone is UTC. Okay. Now let's go back up. Let's go back to the browser. And inside the browser, we can say echo, print something like Monday. But we want it to say more than just Monday. Print something like Monday, the 8th of August, 2005, blah, blah, blah. Let's use this one here. This one looks fun. This one here. Again, select it, copy, go back to your word processor, and we are going to paste. Now, I have a problem here. I have a problem in this line. And this would not normally work the way the way this line is coded, because anytime you want to write text to the browser, you have to type echo space quotation mark. So we want to say today's date is, but now I have the word echo again because I copy and pasted. What you want to do here, since you already have the echo already started once, put a period before the word date. And then jump over to the semicolon. Yeah, so today's date is due. Okay, there you go. Cool. Now, let's go look at time. Now, what this did is essentially, actually, to tell you the truth, what I would normally do is put another period, quotation, BR, \n. This \n tells the browser, tells the environment that it's a new line. Just like BR stands for a break or line break, whereas P is paragraph break. Paragraph break is the end of your paragraph, there's a blank line, and then new paragraph starts. BR is the end of your line, and the next line down is where you start doing your writing. So there you go. So what we did here was we're echoing today's date is colon. Then we spit out the date. This is a function. And then we go back to writing in the function echo using a period and saying BR, which would have been the same thing as a code here. \n quotation. This is a whole block. Get to learn this. \n new line, quotation, semicolon. The quotation here closes the one that's here, which is the child to this line here, which all belongs to this. Okay. This and this are the written text. This is the function. Okay, so it's yeah, we're gonna get to learn this a little bit more. You got to think of, okay, I'm writing text, I'm doing a function, I'm writing text. Okay, so it's a little bit tricky. Now we're gonna start a new line. Let's go get the time in the computer's time. Let's back out of here. Let's go back. Now earlier we saw the function time way up here. Do you remember that? It said timestamp. Here, time. Click on it, and the same thing. returns current Unix timestamp. Now this is the time from the epoch time from the 1st of January at midnight, the 1st of January 1970. I believe, yes it is. The epoch was January 1st, 1970 at 000 GMT. That would be 1. Today we're at 14 or 15 billion something, the value. So what you can do, let's do this one. Let's do this one where we do a math calculation. We're going to do a math calculation, a little function here. Let's copy that. Let's go a little further, okay? And then after that, we'll end the episode so I can let you guys absorb FTP. We'll save this file, we'll upload it, and I'll show it to you. And then we'll come back to next time. The next episode, we'll do more coding, okay? So I copied. You guys saw me copy it. I selected it. I could say copy it. I use Control-C and Control-V. Control-C is copy. Control-V is paste. I don't know what it is on Mac. I think Mac's the same. I would think Mac is the same because I think Windows and Linux copied from Macintosh, which copied it from Xerox, the functions for copy, paste, and cut, copy, and paste. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is we're going to write in the time. We're going to say echo the epoch time is, and you're going to understand why I'm talking about epoch time. This value is critical. So what did I do here? Can anybody tell me what I did here? Of course not, because this isn't live. But what I did was I opened a stream of text, echo the text. I wrote some text. I closed the echo temporarily to continue with a function inside PHP to then come back to writing the text. But this time, instead of doing a BR, I did a paragraph break. And what this paragraph break essentially does, again, is you got written text, and then you have a blank line, and then written text continues. What we're going to do here, I'm going to use their example. I think this is neat. Here we're going to say, I think this is neat. Now, anytime you have a variable, a string, a number, a value, it starts with a $sign. And that $sign has to be a one full word. And what they got here is next week is the variable. That's what we call a value. So string or shift number 4, the $sign, next week. And then equals time. And you see here's the same thing as the one up here, but this has conditions inside of it. So let's do some math. Let's start echoing, saying it in 1 week it will be, and then we're going to spit out the epoch time again by saying it will be. Now, next week equals the current time plus, I usually like, they did the same way, but I usually like going seconds times minutes times hours times days. I usually like typing in seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years, from left to right. So these programmers do it right. They do it from biggest to smallest. It doesn't really matter. That's just a question of preference. I mean, I could have said 7 times 60 times 24 times 60. Would have been the same thing. But just to keep it organized, seconds, minutes, hours, days. So now what we can do is say, close the quotation, dot, the value, which is, oh, and here you gotta be careful. In my program, if you notice, when I double click, it doesn't copy the $sign. You gotta be careful. So I gotta put a $sign in there. Go to the end of it, dot. Now, let's say, in 1 week it will be, there's the epoch, it will be epoch time, this will be. Now what you can do is go back up here to date. This gets pretty neat. This gets pretty neat here. This gets pretty fancy. Look. Oops. You see how it's all green here? There's a problem because I have an open quotation. So the end of the date. This will be date. This will be quotation, and then date, and then I can say next week, comma, and then the code. Now, let's close the line. And then we can also say there. Okay. So now what we've done, and we're going to save the file and we're going to upload. There might be errors. I don't know. We're going to find out. Yes, there will be an error because look what I did here. I made a boo-boo. Dot. And I made a boo-boo. No, I did not make a boo-boo. No, there's no boo-boo there. Okay, we're good. Okay, there's no boo-boo there. There's a dot there. Dot there. See, I like this program because it actually does color code. Orange dots when it's in between, and green dots when it's inside the quote. You see, green is quotation, is quoted. Everything else is coded. Okay, so let's go ahead and save this. Now I saved it, and let's go back to our FTP software. And if you remember, we were in here. We were in the. Let's go back to the root. And in the root, there's a folder called public_HTML. When I saved it under public HTML. And that's why you want a copy of the files on your hard drive, the same as on your server. If the server goes down and you lose your hosting, there's always a copy here. You always want to copy, edit, modify, and then upload. The server is always the other one. You don't want a newer version on your server and an older version on your computer. Always keep the newer version on your computer, and then you're going to click on demo.php here, right click and say upload. Another thing that you could do is simply drag and drop it. You see, and it's uploaded. Now let's go to a browser. Let's go to a browser. Let's open a page and let's go to https://nelsonbuck.com/demo.php. And there we go. So what do we have? What do we have here? If you guys remember, I said H1, that was headline 1. This is H2, and this is H3. It has nothing to do with the line numbers. It has to do with the size, the headline size of the text. Okay? Now, today's date is Tuesday, the 30th of January, 2018, 3:43, 55 p.m. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's GMT, Greenwich Meridian Time. The epoch time is, now this time here in computer format, and this is really critical. You're going to learn this later on when you get into databases, and I'm going to show you guys how to do MySQL functions in SQL, how to manage your, let's say for example, you got subscribers, you want to know what date they signed up. Well, this date, Thursday, 30th of January, blah, 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 takes up a lot of text, whereas you can save it as a numerical format, 15,173,270, something like that. No, it's 1.5 billion. 1,517,327,035. That number is a number of seconds that have occurred, that have elapsed since the epoch time of January 1st at midnight, 0 seconds, 0 everything, 1970. So from 1st of January 1970 at 0 minutes and seconds, that is the number of seconds that have elapsed. Computers understand these numbers. They don't understand necessarily these formats, but this they'll understand perfectly fine. Okay, now here it says warning, date expects parameter 2 to be long, string given, blah blah blah. Okay, so we have a mistake in here, right? So let's go fix this. Now it says right in there, HTML demo.php on line 34. Let's go back to our line. Okay, again, I'm not some super duper guru. Right here, line 34, blah 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 blah. Okay, what it wants is this. What it wants is, it wants the format of your date first and then your value after. So let's resave it. Save. Go back to FTP and upload. Now, if you guys like the environment I'm working in, this is called Ubuntu. It's free to download. You can run this on your computer. It's very easy to use. I love it. In terms of programming and coding, I love it. It's on my laptop. It's on my computer. I do my live streams with it. It's much more stable than Windows. If you guys want to sit down and talk about Ubuntu, I'll be more than happy to show you guys how to get around using it. Okay, so come back to the page, and on your keyboard, Windows and Linux, I don't know about Mac, but in Windows and Linux, there's an F5, push F5, and it will refresh the browser. If it doesn't refresh, you can use, I believe it's Control F5 or Shift. It's Shift F5, and it will do a full hard reload, ignoring the cache, okay? So now it says, in 1 week, it will be epoch time 15. Now look at the dates. Did it? Yeah, look at the numbers and dates. 1517, 1517, 327, 932, 018. So there's more seconds added right here. There's actually exactly 60 times 60 times 24 times 7 seconds added in. This will be Thursday. That doesn't work. Thursday, 1st of January, 1970, because there's a glitch. Oh, I know, and I know what it is. Hold on a second here. How do we? Hold on a second. How do we do that? Wait a minute. I gotta go. Okay, see, I'm not a guru. Let's go back. I don't know how to do something. Let's go back to our date and time thing here. Next week, the date, comma. Okay, that's how I did it. I thought I did it that way. Let's go back and look. Date. I did the date, the format. Did I miss something? Comma, next week. Oh, okay. I see it. Do you guys see it? Do you see what I see? A glitch, a wonderful little glitch. Look at the difference between the top line next week and the bottom line next week. And some of you that have really good vision, I'm so used to it. It's one of the first things I look for. Everything in programming is case sensitive. Next with a capital W on the week is not the same string as next with a lowercase w. Don't make that mistake. Don't make the mistake of using capital and lowercase letter L's, capital M's, lower M's. I'm gonna put it the way I want it, because I use everything in lowercase, just because it's so much simpler. You'll spend hours looking for a letter W, capital E, small e, K. It really will drive you nuts. Where's the problem? And it's a capital letter where it shouldn't be. Put everything lowercase. It's simpler that way. You'll save yourself a whole bunch of time. So save it again. And look, we wasted about a minute right there in that video. Upload. Yeah, I'm gonna get to this error code message here in a second. I'll come back to it in just a second. Okay, so let's go back to our browser. Let's go to our page. Reload. That's better. So the epoch times are for Tuesday the 30th. In 1 week it will be Tuesday. Now that sounds better, right? Tuesday, the 6th of February 2018. If we go to a calendar and look at a calendar, the 6th of is a Tuesday. Okay, so that's how we do it. That's the way we do it. And then of course we said thank you for visiting. So we just did some dates, we did some math, we did some putting some text on the page. Error messages. Let's say for example you're in an environment where PHP does not write the error message. Let's go back to your back to the FTP. Right click or click once on where it says errorlog.txt in the folder you're in, and then say right click and go download. Or again, you can click and drag it down. Okay. Now what you want to do, in my case, I want to right click on it and I want to say edit, and it brings it up in here. And what does it say? It says on the date, the time, PHP warning. This is important. Follow this first, 30th of January, because if you have a huge error log, don't go looking 5 months back to see what the errors were. Date expected, parameter 2 to be long. It's talking about a long integer. String given at this script name on line 34. If you remember, that's the glitch that we had because I had the value in the wrong place relative to the text. So I just wanted to show you there is an error log. If your hosting provider doesn't provide that, then it's a configuration issue. At my location, on my hosting package for you guys, it's written in the script on the screen. and it's written in a file. But sometimes we're using CSS and layering. Sometimes you won't see the error message. Sometimes you'll have to right click and go to view page source, and then you'll see a line that says error blah 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 blah. It might be written like just strung out. Usually it occurs where the error occurs, but sometimes it might be like hidden behind a panel or something. When it's in the actual display format. Okay, so recap today. Go get Filezilla, download it, install it. Play with it. If you need a hosting package set up, feel free to contact me, and I will set you up a hosting package. I do provide hosting for my members, my paid members. You can get 2 website domains, hosting domains set up. I say it's unlimited hosting to within reason. If you pull, it's hosting within reason that I will tolerate the amount of data. If you have megs and megs and megs and gigs of content, fine. If we get into the terabytes, we're going to talk. There's too much there. But for just the average SMO, you don't have to worry about bandwidth and disk usage and all that kind of stuff. And you get all the stats and content that goes with it. So get Filezilla, download it, install it. If you need a package, I can do it. Find yourself a text editor, some editor. In the next show, I might show. I know NoteTab Pro is pretty good. I used to use NoteTab Pro when I used to use Windows, and I've gone over to Gedit. By the way, that's what this is called. I just realized it. It's called Gedit, and it gets something that helps you color code the coding. There's a lot of programs out there. Whichever one you like. If you want to use Ubuntu, I will be more than happy to do a series on how to install Ubuntu. You do need a computer that's less than 3 years old. You need something that's a little bit more recent because it is an operating system you're installing, and it is very simple to use. As you saw me using, switching from programs to programs, from applications to to codes. It's a lot simpler than Windows. I find personally, I love using Ubuntu. So on the next episode, we're going to do some more coding. If you have something you want to find out, how do you do this function, how do you do that, I'm going to talk to you guys. I'll sit down and I'll code. Give me an idea, put it in the comments below. Please subscribe, like, and comment on my videos. These are a personal series, and I want to show you guys how to do some of this. I want you guys, by the time I'm done, I want you guys to be able to say that you're coders. It's nothing to be afraid of. You can't break anything. Literally, you can't break anything. I don't know anybody who has broken my server by doing PHP scripts and making their own sites. And you can then do all the coding you want. Later on, you can get into WordPress and do your coding. You'll understand what it means, these question marks and the slashes and symbols and lesser than, greater thans. You'll understand all that. I'm also going to be doing live streams on Twitch, while people will ask me questions, and we're going to do some. I think we're going to do some of this stuff right on Twitch instead of me recording it. I think I'm going to do it live so that I can see people's comments. So, we're going to do it on Twitch, and then I'm going to export it to YouTube. Next video, guys, in a couple of days. Stay tuned. Play with this. Copy it. Play around with it and see. Let's create something together. I'm going to wish you guys a great day. See you next time.